Ryan, I am honestly honored to have you as a guest on the podcast today. I just reached out to you on a whim. I saw a post of yours. I mean, I've seen a lot of posts of yours, and I was like, man, I love this vibe, and I would love him to come on the podcast. So thank you for being here. For people who have not met you, tell us a little bit more about you.
Yeah. Thanks. Good to be here, Candice. Well, I live currently in Rio de Janeiro, and I've been here for about 4 years. I'm originally from Seattle, but I had this plan. I wanted to travel the world, after my basically best friend stabbed me in the back in our video production company. And there's this whole thing. And then, I've got family here. So I thought I'm going to move to Rio and have a new chapter and live my life. And after about 8 months, I thought, there's no way I can leave this place. It's way too beautiful. There's tons of sun and nice people and good vibes, and I'm just having a great time. So I've been here for about 4 years now, and primarily, I guess I'm a marketer, storyteller, copywriter kind of person. Like really, I'm helping clients to get their story out and help people understand how they're different, and help them articulate what they do and how they do it and how they help people. Like in our space, there's so many coaches and consultants out there, and they all are kind of saying the same thing, especially with ChatGPT and AI. Everyone's creating copy that sounds very generic. So that's where we come in, is like, let's really articulate how you're different and position you differently and actually bring out your authentic kind of story. So yeah, that's kind of me in a quick nutshell.
Yeah. We need so much more of that genuineness, that humanness, that mistake. Sometimes I'll post something and I notice that I've done a spelling mistake or something really silly, and I'm like, I'm gonna leave it there. which is wild, because I should run things through spell check since whatever 2000, but sometimes I'm like, okay, it's fine, I'll just leave it there. Okay, so Ryan, let's get into my personal favorite part of the podcast, is going all the way back in time to young you. What was that first job, like the first dollar you ever earned?
Mm, yeah, good question. All the way back. It's definitely interesting, and definitely my like childhood has shaped who I am right now, obviously. But there's this like common thread throughout everything that I've done and who I am. And I've always wondered, am I different? I feel like we all feel like this, like, am I different? Like, I feel this kind of alone. Is there anyone that really understands me? I think we all have this kind of thread, and throughout my whole life, it's been this. I feel like the coyote, kind of like on the outside of things, watching. And I've always been someone that people like to be around and talk to, and I've been on lots of sports teams and had lots of friends, but I was never the person that was like a part of the friend group necessarily, the one that was like going to all the parties and doing all of the things, even though I knew all of those people. And I think that's what's given me this entrepreneur kind of this tendency, this ability to be really independent and want to go my own way, do the things that I love to do and kind of stick to that. And thankfully, maybe it all started with my dad and having chores at home, cutting the lawn, spraying the weeds, around the neighborhood, and doing things like that. And yeah, I moved around a lot as a kid. I think I moved about like 4 times before the age of 15 to different states and different schools. So I've had this ability to get to know new people quickly, be able to make fast friends. And I've, wondered about this too. And I think this is another good kind of entrepreneurial quality that I think maybe a lot of people have, especially maybe on our side, that are real front facing and are good at sales and talking to people. It's this, I've always felt like I'm good on the surface, but I haven't had a lot of those deeper kind of relationships in my life that I wonder about. Like, is there something wrong with me? Is it like, why don't I care if I can just pick up everything and move to the next city tomorrow if I wanted to? Like, is that something, is that just how I am? I don't know. Um, So anyway, yeah, I don't know. I kind of stopped there. I can talk about some earlier jobs and stuff, but
Yeah,
That's kind of what's
as you're talking, I really relate to that. That French, you're friends with everyone, but you're on the outside of the friendship. That really hit a nerve for me as well. Funny enough, it's not out yet, but I'm writing a book, and that's a lot of the stories I tell is like how hard it was to form those relationships and know that I matter and that I'm not different or like that I shouldn't be on the outside. So I really relate to that. And thank you for saying that out loud because I think more people than, how can we say, more people than we think go through that. Like it's more prevalent than what I think we see in the world because that's a hard thing to say. All right, so you said 4 states before you were 14.
yeah.
Is that
Yeah. So
that's a lot of moves. Tell me more about that.
yeah. Yeah, I was started in Seattle and then 3 years later moved to Sandy area of Utah. And then 3 years later to Albuquerque, New Mexico. Then a few years later to Denver area of Colorado. And then went back to Seattle in high school. So yeah, these kind of, my dad, he's a civil engineer, does highway design. So every few years there'd be a new project and then we moved to a different place. And yeah, I definitely remember I had this journal entry when I was living in Utah. So I must have been maybe 4 years old. I remember writing something and it was just, I just said like, we're moving tomorrow and we're going to move to a new place. And I like feel sad about it or something like that. And that's kind of all I written. But maybe being a kid, I never really felt like really sad about moving. It always felt like an adventure. And my dad is kind of the same way. He's kind of guy that everybody respects and likes, but he's not the kind of guy that has a friend group too. Like every weekend he's going out golfing with the guys or, we never had a lot of friends that like family friends that came over to the house really. Like my mother is Brazilian, which is one of the big reasons why I'm here. So half our family is living here in Rio, lots of aunts and uncles and cousins. And then my dad's side of the family is in Chicago. So growing up, we never had the family come over every weekend or when there's birthdays, we're all getting together. It was more maybe, every 6 months or every year we're going to Chicago. And then every 3-4 years, we're going to Brazil to see family. And, that's an interesting thing about being here in Brazil and just the cultural differences. Here being close to family, now it's like every month there is a birthday and we're getting together and seeing each other. And now the family's kind of like texting me and we're talking about doing stuff and getting together. And one, that's not something that I've ever had before to have close family. And that's interesting to like build those relationships with people in a deeper kind of way. But it's also very more cultural thing. Like Brazilians are they're more family oriented. They're more social oriented. Like there's more of this feeling here that we're all in this together, more of like a social kind of mindset where the government is not, nearly as say effective in Brazil here in Rio as in the US. And there's a lot of, it's the economic mobility is a lot more difficult here in Brazil. And there's, most like 90% of people are living, in a much more lower state of poverty, of income than the top kind of percentage of people. So there's this kind of feeling that, hey, stuff is kind of not working. The government's kind of screwing us and we're all in this communal thing together. The way people interact with each other is much more assumed, like much just more, for example, in the US, you go to a grocery store and somebody will say like, hey, like, how you doing? Like, welcome to the store. Is there anything I can help you out with? And we have this surface interaction that's very polite. But in Brazil, it's not like that at all. It's if you want, at least here in Rio, especially, if you want service at a restaurant, it's like, hey, like, how's it going? Like, it's, you have to interact with people more like it's just assumed that you're there and you have to talk to them like they were, like you already knew them, like they were your brother or sister or something like that. So it's very, very interesting, different dynamic.
Yes, and I fully relate to that because that feels very South African, actually.
You're
Your
South African.
Brazilian culture that's very similar. You could leave the grocery store like knowing about their children's problems, and it's like very personal. Um, yeah. So as you were talking, I'm like, oh, that could be South Africa. It's the same thing. So yes, I have it the other way around, from South Africa to America. So yeah. All right. Wow. That's yeah, a lot of overlap there. So, and then you said after about 8 months living in Brazil, you didn't want to leave. So what is it about the place? I mean, yes, the natural beauty, but what is it about the place that's sort of keeping you there?
Yeah. I mean, life is definitely very good. It's like, and this is a question I have about myself, about entrepreneurship, and about life in general, about what people do. It's, here I live in this place. It's called in Rio de Janeiro, but specifically in Zona Sul, so the South Zone. And the South Zone here is, it's the nicest, kind of wealthiest, most famous touristy kind of area in Rio. It's where like the famous beaches are. Like I'm 3 minutes walking from Copacabana Beach here, and that's like where there's like Ipanema Beach is right next to it, and there's a famous song about that. So it's so beautiful here. And every day I wake up and I'm like, man, like, do I actually like live in this place? There's like spider monkeys running along the wires here, and there's like big trees and big sun, and there's lots of restaurant. I walk everywhere. I ride a bike everywhere. So everything feels good. And even on the weekends, I just go and I walk to the beach, and I walk along the beach and I watch people. So it's like every day, and being an entrepreneur, being disciplined, every day I do the exact same thing every day. I wake up, I do work, I work out. On the weekends, I'll go like to the beach or do something, or maybe I'll see family. And it's like when I was living in Seattle, when I was trying to build this business, when I was I was working 6 hours in a grocery store after my production company fell apart, and working in the grocery store and working on my business the other half of the day. I'm doing the same thing. I'm working every day, working out. I'm not going any much further than a 5-6 kilometer radius. And I wonder sometimes, like, should I want more? Like, should I be traveling more? Should I do I need to be experiencing life more? Like, are there other things I need to be doing? Like, am I missing something? But doing the work that I do in the place that I am, even though I do this every single day, I'm so happy about it. I'm ecstatic about it. And I think, well, there's lots of other people that they have other jobs that they don't necessarily like or love. And they're doing what I'm doing. They have to go to that same job every single day and not really love what they're doing. So I just can't, I'm just doing what I'm doing and being disciplined about it. And I don't feel like I'm a very feeling based kind of person when it comes to what I should do with things. Like, I kind of, I like ask, like, should I do this? Should I do this thing? Do I need to go here? And I've just never felt that I need to go somewhere else. That being said, I've gone somewhere else a lot. I've had transitions very quick, but for now, I just feel like it's okay. And, and I'm single, and there's lots and lots of beautiful Brazilian girls that are here too. So that helps a lot. My mother's Brazilian. I would love to find a nice, wife here too as well. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so we on your life right now, but I want to go back again because I feel like we missed a whole chunk of your story here. So from high school, and you lived Denver, you went back to Seattle, where you were for a lot of the time, or a long time, from what I'm piecing together. You tell me. What was that like? How did you? Because now you're still very young, when you moved back to Seattle, right? Like your early 20s, right? I'm putting
Yeah,
the
like 16
story together.
basically.
Okay. So tell me a little bit about those, like, out of school years.
Yeah. I think when things really got interesting, because I had lots of good did kind of shenanigans in high school, and I had this, really nice time, played lots of sports. And, I had really nice girlfriend that she was like a year older than me. So when I was a senior in high school, she was in college. And so I spent like at least 1 or 2 nights a week, like sneaking out my window so I could go see her. And we're, building this relationship where we felt like we were in love and we were going to travel the world together and do all those kinds of things. It was really nice, a really great time to be in high school and do that. But, that whole time, I never felt like I was anything. Like I never felt like there was a real Ryan. Like I was this thing moving around in the world. But like I said, I wasn't in this kind of friend group. I didn't have my thing. Like, what am I good at? I'm great at sports and I can get along with people, but I never felt like there was a real Ryan there. Like who am I? What am I supposed to do? What am I really feeling? And then sophomore year of college, I'm walking through the campus at Western Washington University. It's 2 hours north of Seattle. Beautiful campus, north by the ocean. Lots of, in Washington State is just beautiful in general. Lots of trees, lots of green, and lots of rain. So I'm walking to the campus on the red brick of, by the library, kind of thinking about what I'm going to do because it's time to decide my major. What kind of school am I going to apply to? And then I had this strike of lightning, this strike of a thought that said, spread good ideas. And it was like very apparent. I've never had really a more apparent idea hit my mind than this spread good ideas voice. I thought, well, I've always wanted to go into business school and do business. That definitely makes a lot of sense for a career. And marketing is spreading good ideas. There's a lot of ideas out there, businesses and people that are helping to do things. I can use marketing as a force for good and spread good ideas with marketing. And ever since this happened, everything in my life has revolved around this idea of what I'm doing going to help me to spread good ideas. And honestly, I think the most important thing for any person is, what is that core mission? How can you find that mission? How can you find that North Star that is going to guide you and allow you to do, the passions that you have? Because, one, it eliminates that anxiety, that questioning of what should I do? Who am I? What guides me? What's best for me? And then it just allows everything in your life to compound, gives you that purpose. It has this compounding effect. Like, after that idea came to me, then yes, I did an internship at the volunteer center that was in town there, the Whatcom County Volunteer Center. And I had a best friend who had a camera. And I thought, hey, let's do interviews for the volunteer center. And so I interviewed people, and we made all these amazing videos covering events. And then after that, it was, hey, let's do a production company. Or we just started like filming weddings and filming music festivals. And then we can do this for small businesses. Then we start a production company. I mean, what's one of the best ways to spread ideas is through video and through storytelling. So that's where that came from. And then we had a break. And then right out of college, I got a sales job, and I started selling cable, fiber cable door to door. I got this job it was just a few months doing that, but like learning how to pitch, how to structure a pitch and talk to people, getting over that fear. And then for like a year after that, I worked for this direct marketing company where we're selling these products in grocery stores. So I do 20 shows a day in a grocery store, like on a platform, selling these different kinds of products. And why? Because I knew that I needed to learn how to sell. We need to learn how to communicate and how to share ideas. So we did that. And then I worked for this company, a street sweeping manufacturer. On the surface, not interesting at all, but part of this guide, this voice that I listened to. So, oh man, there's some like different layers here, but I spent 3 weeks in India, roaming around India. We were there with my family, and I said, guys, I'm going to stay here and I'm going to fulfill this mission to travel the world. So I had this few weeks. I'm trying to get a tourist visa in India, but I had this kind of experience, this discovering myself, where if I ever needed to ask a question about something, I could ask myself, I could ask my gut, I could ask God in a yes or no fashion, should I do this? And to me, that's the second most maybe important thing that I've ever thought in my life or want to communicate to people is the ability is to trust yourself. Like you really know the answers. You got to block out the noise when everyone else thinks. When it comes down to it, you trust yourself. You ask yourself if you should do this. And if you get a yes, then do it. So this company, I'm like, I don't know, should I do this? Should I work for the street sweeping company? I mean, marketing and video, it sounds okay, but I got the yes. It's like, really? And then I did it, and it turns out I just edited video for an entire year, and I learned how to become a professional video editor and videographer that I got to use for a next job where there's a guy in a park. He's doing capoeira. He's like teaching people to like climb trees, and they're doing nature things. I'm like, hey, what's going on here? Can I make you a video? And then he said, yeah, let's make videos. He'll do it for free, which is a third great lesson. I think if you want to get into an industry or do something, especially in the creative industries, do lots of work and do it for free. Do it for free to start out. Find a way to support yourself. Do it for free and do the work. Because what happened to me was I made this video with this guy who had this company. And then after a few weeks, he says, you know what, Ryan, I want to match your salary in your company that you're working for now. And if you want, I'll match your salary. You can come work for me. And that was like a first day of freedom. I basically got out of this 9 to 5 kind of situation, which was interesting because the first day of that job, I was told, hey, here's this information about some information about the company. Study this packet. It took me about 3 hours. And I looked at the clock and I thought, okay, so what should I do now? Like, just do some more research. I'm like, oh my God. So this is what it means to be in a 9 to 5 job. It's not just the hours. It's that you just have to be there no matter if there's something to do or not. Like what torture this would be. So really, I got my freedom. I got my freedom with that company and that offer because I went with my gut. I developed the skills that I was passionate about, but that also paid me. And then I got to be in this work where I was working my own hours. Literally, we would take people on just like nature retreats every weekend, and I'm learning about advertising and doing these amazing things out in nature. And then I'll stop there because the next phase, I'd love to hear more, about you and your thoughts. I'm talking a lot here, but the next phase is kind of like my production, which is a whole.
This is your story, and we'll get to your production company next. I do have one question that has been burning to ask. If someone listening is thinking, okay, great, Ryan, it feels like you have this gut instinct, but you know what? I don't have that. Like, I don't know what to do next when there's a crossroads or, a fork in the road. I don't know how to choose. What would you say to those people, and I can talk for myself. I also really use my gut a lot. Like I don't overthink anything ever, but sometimes I'm like, I really don't know what the next step is. What would you say to those people in that moment? Like, how do you ask yourself the question? Is there a process you go through? Just tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah. It's a good question, and it's definitely simple, but also takes a lot of work. And I'll give you the structure, but then also go into like how you can actually use the structure in the first place. So the surface level structure, this what should I do? It is just the way that I found it to work for me is that this can work most simply on a yes or no basis. Like really it comes down to these questions of, even most simply, should I go to this party or not? Should I go out with these people or not? It's like, yes, I want to. I should make them feel good, but I don't really want to. But am I being selfish by not going? Should I do it? It's the should I wear this shirt today or not? Like, am I going to look like a dork? I don't know if I should do it or not. So it's like the questions. It can come to business, but it's the things where it doesn't really matter if, it doesn't really matter what you choose. But there's all this anxiety behind all of the looping thoughts about what's going to happen if I make this decision or not. But I need to make a decision. But ultimately, it doesn't necessarily matter what it is, because really what you're doing is just leaving it up to God. I'm going to use the word God. I'm not personally religious in a traditional religious sense, but I'm a very religious person when it comes to, I feel and know this connection to God and the universe that's directing everything and has our back for everything. And that's kind of the second part of this. But it's literally, I'm asking, should I do this thing? And if I get an immediate yes, then I do it no matter what, with no questions. And it has to be that strict criteria, because you have to eliminate the choice. And if it's like there's a no answer or non-answer, then that means either I'm just not going to do it, or I can always ask again later. I can ask again later about it. But the most important thing is that if you get that immediate yes, I do it, no questions asked.
Okay.
Now, the kind of
I love that.
the deeper,
Yes.
yeah, and it seems very simple, but the reason why it's maybe complicated is because you have to have that knowledge and faith in God. Again, just going to say God, I don't know, and think about however that you want, but I honestly know, like, my religion is a religion of thought. It's really a religion of science. It's what you can call it new thought. There's this idea of this new thought kind of movement, but it's very, I know that what I think and the thoughts that I repeat and the beliefs that I attach to them, that there's no question that my life goes in that direction. And it's because I've seen it, because I have the evidence that what I focus on, what I think about, when I think positively, and when I attach that energy to me, when I visualize myself that I'm going to come onto this podcast and I'm going to be open and expressive and come in with positive energy and I'm going to have a conversation. One, I know it's going to happen, but it doesn't mean that it has to happen that way. But I know that what's going to happen is going to be for the best for me, that I'm going to be able to approach it in a way that's always going to be the best thing. And I'm going to make it the best thing, because that's my decision to be like that. So when I say that I trust my yes 100%, it's because I have that faith and that understanding that that's the way that things work. And it's based in the evidence of me having a disciplined thought practice and readings of spiritual text, understanding and reading and developing my belief system. So to wrap it up, it's simple, but it's taken a lot of work and practice and evidence and understanding and study and willingness to get to this point where I can trust myself.
Yeah, that is so good. And we learn to not trust ourselves, because when we're younger, we actually trust ourselves a lot more, and we probably mess up a lot more. And then when we're older, we just start overthinking things, and yeah, just coming back to that, it's, you're going to feel the yes, and you're going to get it. And it is that simple once you get there. So yeah, I love that. Thank you. All right, let's get into your production company. I know there seems definitely some positives and some drama, it feels like. So yeah, tell me all about it.
Yeah, I think this is a good lesson in, for what happens, how can you take something that happens that is bad or that is negative, that seems like it was supposed to be the right thing, and it ends, and what do you do with that? How can you move past that, or how can you use it for the best, say? And so I had this production company with two of my best friends. We were making videos, for businesses, doing these beautiful testimonial style videos. We interview clients and take, shots of what they're doing and where they live. And we did lots of other things, weddings and festivals. And basically we're best friends all throughout college, 5-6 years, inseparable, doing everything together. And but having a business with people is difficult, and it's difficult having a business with friends, because you have your friend dynamic, but what do you do when you have to express a hard opinion? You have to draw a line in the sand. when you have to maybe act as someone's boss in a way. So that's kind of the tough thing about being with a couple other friends is no one was the boss. No one is really has more say over everyone else. Like, I mean, I was more of the natural kind of leader, leading the sales and talking to clients. And one of my other best friend is more of the engineer, filmmaker kind of person. But we would fight all the time. Me and my friends, like we're fighting all the time. We're yelling at each other. He's stubborn. I'm stubborn. We come from different kinds of viewpoints. This whole, him engineering more logical thinking, me or whatever the opposite of that is. Maybe I'm more of a big
That
picture thinker. He's
feeling.
of a great.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yes, yeah, exactly. So we're butting heads all the time, and we were successful, but never really successful. We were always just getting by month to month, basically. And it just one day, I come into the living room of our office where we're working out of the basement there. And then the two other guys said, "Hey, Ryan, like we don't want to do this anymore. We want to stop the business." I'm like, "Oh, damn, we want to stop the business." Like, never said anything about it. This is a shock. Like, what do you mean? Why do you want to do that? And then it's, yeah, we want to stop this, but and we want to go do our own thing. We want to do our own thing with the company. Like, even have all the clients. We want to start this other thing. Yeah, we've got a name for it. We've been thinking about this for like a month. We've got a name for this company. So it's real double whammy. Like, man, one, you want to quit this business, and two, you want to really just want to do something else, but without me. Like I'm the kind of problem. Like, it was my fault. So so yeah, it was the whole vision, like my whole mind, my whole life up to that point was we're doing this together. We have this business. We're traveling. We're growing. We're working with bigger clients. The business is what's going to take me around the world. That's going to allow me to do the interviews and the podcasts and the documentary and all of this stuff with these guys. And then like in a single, instant, that's all gone. And it's well, what do I do? And so that was a shock. For about a week, it was kind of a shock. But at the same time, it was like a relief. It was like a weight that also been lifted off my shoulders, like a freedom where I know I can be autonomous. I know I can do things and I can continue no matter what. Like, my life was never about the business. My life is about freedom. Freedom is my highest priority. How I can live a life doing the things that I want with the people that I love and just living a good, happy life, feeling like I'm in love with what I'm doing. That's always been the high priority. So yes, this really sucks, but it's also these guys didn't have that same vision. Or they didn't have that same lust or zest. They liked the business. They loved it, but now, they basically lasted a couple months and didn't do anything. It fizzled out. And I'm not really sure what they're doing now, to be honest. So I've know one friend, they're doing things. I'm sure they're good. And we've talked a little bit since, but yeah, so it was that kind of mix of, and it's really what I attribute all of my spiritual practice to. My self discovery, self practice, affirmative thinking, faith in this universe, the way that things work, the way that how I know that whatever God is presenting me in this moment is the right thing. That even if it sucks, that even if it's always pushing me into the direction that I need to go. It's not a block. It's just it's like a redirect. And I can't get to the place that I need to go unless things like this happen.
Mm.
So that's how I kind of
Oh,
thought.
that is such a nice way to put that. I don't want to lose that. It is like these things have to happen so that I get on the path where I should be going. I'm paraphrasing and doing a terrible job because my dog interrupts me. can open doors. So I was like, that was such a good sentence. I didn't want to lose that thought because, yes, I think in the moment when it happens, I'm sure that conversation is probably still one of the hardest conversations you've had. You know, I'm going to assume. But that moment, that whatever hour-long conversation must have been one of the hardest hours of your life, but have led you to where you are now. So, because hindsight's such a wonderful gift, if someone's going through that and having that most awful, crippling, like I am not where I should be, what would you say to them? Having gone through that.
Mm. Well, it is something that I've said to them a few times is really thank you. Because ever since when that happened, it's put me on the path that I've been on. It put me on the path to being a marketing coach and consultant, doing the thing that I really did love the most, that I do love the most, that I'm best at, doing what I'm doing now. It gave me this just even more experience and opportunity. Like right after that, I thought, what am I going to do? And I thought, I thought I can be a writer. I'll try to do copywriting for nonprofits or some organizations that I like, and maybe I could do copywriting and do that. And tried to get some jobs. Getting a job is really difficult, by the way. Jesus, I mean, applying for jobs is hell. I would never want to have to do that. I mean, I got to like a few like third rounds of interviews, and you're excited, and then it's just like, nope. Like, oh, I can't even. Must be so difficult. Something my brother is going right now, but then I had this idea of, well, I've been doing marketing so long, and I'm really good at it. I can help other people with their marketing, help them with their copy, help them with their strategy. That sounds great. And then I got a job at the Safeway at a grocery store, and I worked there. And even in working there in that place, I went from having a video production company, being some cool guy, some marketer, to working in a grocery store. I never felt that because I thought I'm going to get to talk to 100 people a day that are going to come through this line, and I'm going to get to learn about people. I'm going to get to have conversations, work on my conversation skills, get to know new people quickly. And it's just fun work too. There's lots of great people in this store. It was a great store too. And I don't think that was coincidence. I don't think any of these things, it's like none of it is coincidence. None of it has ever been bad, but it's because I've always had the mind that to expect that the next step is going to be the right step. And then even in the expectation is what has allowed me to make the right choices and to go with my instinct that I trust to make the right decision and know the right, and then ask God and have faith. Is this the right thing? Should I go work in this grocery store for a time? Like so all of these things really combine together, coming down to the roots of your belief system and trust in yourself. And so yeah, that was the message. It was like, thank you. Because now I'm on the path I've never lived a better.
Yeah, that is so good. I really admire your reframe of things. And I think if people can take one thing from this episode is that even when things are not going your way, or if they're not working out the way you did, or you have to take a step back, because we all have, definitely. Like I had to take a demotion, in my career, and that was hard. And then I got laid off and was applying for jobs, and I got to fourth, fifth rounds, and then 6 months later they still hadn't hired me, and they asked me to apply for their next opening, and I still didn't get that. And it's like, oh, how do you keep going? But I just love your frame of everything is building and happening just as it's supposed to, building you into the person you are now. So I'm going to ask you, because we could probably chat the whole day, to be honest, about your story and your life. It's just absolutely fascinating, everything. And I love learning more about you too. But I love to ask this question. because of this instant, satisfaction and people saying, and we were talking before I hit record of, follow these 3 things and you'll be a gazillionaire in like 2 days. There's just too much of that. So I like to ask, in building a career, a life, work that lights you up as much as it lights you up, right? Like I can feel your energy about what you do. What does it take? What do we need to tell people? Like, what is the truth of what it takes to build this career that we love?
Building this life, this career that you love. What does it take? It takes, the simplest way I can put it is it really takes love for the thing that you're doing. Like in a step back way, when I talk to clients about content, creating content is a difficult thing. It's difficult to do it, to want to do it all the time. And if you don't love creating content, you're not going to do it. It's going to be a chore and it's not going to come out good. You're going to take shortcuts. You're going to use ChatGPT and just copy paste stuff. I love AI, by the way. I use it for everything. But you're going to do copy paste stuff. You're going to be generic. It's not going to be authentic. You're not going to be a thought leader, and it's going to be a waste of time. So you have to find ways to create and talk about things that you love, or you're never going to do it. So it's the same with building a life and career that you love. You have to love what you do, because it's just too difficult. And people can say, oh, you have to be disciplined. It's like, it doesn't matter. Discipline doesn't matter if you're never going to be disciplined if you don't absolutely love what you do. And if you don't absolutely have, like, what are those that core values that you have, the North Star that you have? Like, for me, there's nothing more important in my life than my freedom, than doing what I love to do every day. The thing is, like, in the work that I do now, I don't love 80% of it. 80% of my work is doing things like lead generation and talking to people, like doing sales calls and even working with clients. It's like, those things are great. But you know what I really love? The only thing I really love to do is create content. I love speaking. I love writing. I just love publishing. I love publishing and putting something out there. I love being on shows and talking to you. Like, that is my highest calling. But to get there, I got to build this business. I have a business partner, and I need to get us clients. And I need to do work every single day that is monotonous and boring and that I don't love. But I spend every minute of it in love with it, because it allows me to have that sometimes only 30 minutes a day to create something that I really care about. So, and then going after that, I want to have, a family, a wife and a family, the ability to travel, the ability to make documentaries one day. I'm never going to be able to do any of that stuff unless I have the discipline to do what I do every day. And unless I have my core values set, my highest idea set of having a free life, of doing what I love, having that North Star of spreading good ideas. If I didn't have those things, I would never be able to do what I do every single day. It's having a business and life you love is not about being happy and whimsical all the time. I truly believe that this is heaven. This is heaven right here. It doesn't get better than this. It's not supposed to. You can't have any good things without difficult things. Like, it doesn't make sense. There has to be contrast. Like, this is it. Like, this is great. What about people that live lives that they hate every single day? How do you feel? How can you feel in love and grateful for what you have right now? Like, that's it. So,
So good. So good. I am nodding away. That was so good. Oh, okay. Ryan, I have one last question that I ask all the guests to wrap this up before we say how people can get in touch with you. But the last question is, if you could go back to young you, whatever age you want to go back to, what would you thank yourself for doing then that got you to where you are now, or built the person you are now?
feel like I want to go to 10 years old or something, some place where I didn't quite have. I think I really want to thank me for having a good like say relationship with my parents, like being thankful to them.
Mm, yeah.
Like I'm really proud that I've always, ooh, get emotional talking about this, but just like that I've always thanked them, that I've tried to, and I guess I know it goes both ways. I've had really great parents, but I'm happy that I've had a good relationship with them. That's
Oh,
it. So
yeah.
thanks, Mom, for not.
So underrated. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that can make all the difference, right? All the difference. So yeah, I love that. I love that. Thank you for calling that out. All right, Ryan, tell us what work you do and who should contact you. So, we'll put links to Instagram, LinkedIn, all the things. That's not what I want to hear from you. I want to hear who should contact you. Why should they contact
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I love working with like people who help people. So especially coaches and consultants, people that have programs. They like to be a voice. They're working on their brand voice. They like to create content, be a thought leader. They do one-on-one coaching. Maybe it's group coaching. Maybe they have programs, and they're trying to grow their business. Like a lot of people we work with, they have a lot of referrals and word of mouth come to them, and they're working with clients, but they want to take things to the next level. They want to have a system that they can scale, predictable and consistent kind of way to bring in new leads and clients and talk to the people that they really care about, that they can really help the most. And so they can spend more time working with those people and grow their business and grow their voice. So we're specialists across the board when it comes to writing copy and setting up these kinds of funnels. We help clients with masterclass funnels. We help them do content strategy. We help them do ads and setting that up. We help them with emails and communicating with their audience. So really any person like that who's trying to grow, scale the business, we can help you out. Our specialty is sales messaging. That's typically where we start. So if you're kind of thinking, hey, how do I differentiate myself? How do I show my authentic message and start to attract the right people? That's where we can really help you.
you? Love it. Now I know why we connected. All right, Ryan, thank you so much. Is there any last thing you want to leave with the listeners before we say goodbye?
I think that's it, Candice. No, I want to thank you a lot. Like you have really great energy and you're doing awesome work. I've seen some of the stuff that you've done too. So thank you so much for doing this and giving people the opportunity to speak. It's really been amazing. And yeah, I hope we can continue to talk and, do something in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.